This is a trial so silent, you might have endured it for years without ever learning its name. What you once believed were just difficult periods in your life, a string of tough times, were actually something far more significant. This is an initiation that happens in absolute quiet, a process beyond the reach of any external guide or well-meaning advice from those closest to you. It is the soul's most rigorous examination, one that reconstructs you from within. In my work, I have studied these unseen passages, these internal rites that forge an entirely new consciousness from the raw material of deep suffering. It's a refining process that leaves no visible mark, yet permanently alters the inner world. The signs of this profound shift are subtle, written in the quiet changes of your being, recognizable only to those who have walked a similar path through darkness. Your pain becomes the architect of your wisdom. Perhaps you have already passed this hidden assessment without any ceremony. The evidence may live in your energy, in a new gravity to your presence, in a depth that others feel but cannot explain. These 7 indicators we will explore are not trophies for display, but quiet confirmations from within, landmarks of an interior country visited only by the courageous. Some people undergo what can be called a second birth of the spirit during their lifetime. This is not physical. It occurs in the stillness after great turmoil, in the breath between thoughts, in the sudden realization that the person you were fighting to become has been residing within you all along, simply awaiting recognition. The essential question is not about worth, for the soul operates beyond such judgments, but about your humble ability to see that this transformation is already underway within you. The seed was planted in the dark, fertile ground of your challenges. Like an ancient tree that grows more uniquely resilient after weathering a terrible storm, the human spirit develops a new kind of strength through this ordeal. This isn't a brittle hardness that resists until it breaks, but a flexible, enduring power, like deep roots that learn to draw nourishment from rocky soil. You learn gradually to metabolize hardship, turning what could be poison into a strange kind of medicine, transforming chaos into a luminous, if difficult, clarity. The psyche learns to digest its own experience. The first sign shows up most clearly in your changed relationship with being alone. Where solitude once felt like a sentence, a painful isolation, it now becomes sacred ground, a personal sanctuary. I've studied that deep wound which drives us to seek validation outside ourselves, a hunger that can never be filled by another. When that wound ceases to control your actions, when its constant whisper finally falls silent, something fundamental and beautiful has changed within your structure. Your energy stops leaking out in a desperate search for external approval. A tangible stillness emerges in those who have faced their soul's ultimate challenge. It is not the stillness of numbness or retreat, but the quiet that arrives when you no longer need to prove your value to anyone, not even yourself. The war for self-acceptance has reached its peaceful end. You find you can be truly alone without that anxious, restless need to fill the emptiness with distraction, activity, or the presence of others. This solitude becomes productive, a fertile space. It is in these quiet, unoccupied moments that your deepest understandings surface, not from endless interaction, but from a profound dialogue with the parts of you that only speak when the world is silent. This is the meeting with your true self. This capacity for rich, creative aloneness is a true signature of the integrated personality, the mark of one who has discovered their center. You might start to notice, with compassion rather than criticism, how others run from themselves through constant socialization, endless entertainment, or relationships that serve as diversions. There's no blame here, only a quiet, somber recognition of paths you once walked but have now moved beyond. A great paradox emerges: the more at home you are in your own company, the more you nurture this vibrant inner life, the more you magnetize those seeking real connection. Your very nervous system has recalibrated. Where the unknown once triggered automatic fear, a dread of the void, you now approach mystery with what I think of as engaged curiosity, a willing conversation with the unseen. You develop a genuine appetite for the threshold spaces where real change lives, those in between moments where one identity falls away and a truer one steps forward from the remains. The second sign appears powerfully in your transformed relationship with your own darkness. A significant part of psychological work involves integrating the shadow, the process where we stop rejecting the unwanted parts of our personality and start working with them consciously, bringing them into awareness. This is demanding work. This integration unfolds within you in ways that would have been impossible before your trial. You develop a fierce, uncompromising honesty with yourself about your own potential for control, your concealed desires for influence, your capacity to hurt others when you feel afraid or trapped. Instead of terrifying you as it once did, this deep self-knowledge becomes a source of immense strength and realism. You understand your capabilities, and therefore you can master them. You see these darker impulses not as fatal flaws to be erased by willpower, but as primal, ancient energies to be comprehended, accepted, and directed consciously toward constructive purposes. Your anger, for example, transforms from something that either erupted violently or festered in secret into what could be termed a focused flame. It now burns only what must be removed from your life. It consumes relationships that hinder your growth, patterns that keep you confined, old agreements you made when you understood less about your own inherent worth. This refined anger now fuels your evolution instead of sabotaging it. An energetic wholeness is felt by others, an integrity that is palpable. Even in your silence, people sense your authenticity because you have made peace with your own contradictions. You no longer struggle to resolve the paradoxes inside you, but have learned to hold them consciously, allowing them to generate the dynamic tension necessary for all genuine psychological growth and creativity. The very way you handle emotional intensity has fundamentally changed. Where overwhelming feelings could once delay you for days, casting you into chaos, you now possess a container strong enough to hold the full range of human feeling, from joy to sorrow. Your emotional capacity has expanded, but your relationship to these feelings has become one of conscious partnership, not unconscious takeover. You hold the reins, no longer dragged behind the chariot. The third sign manifests as a developed immunity to psychological projection. Projection is that automatic, unconscious process where people place their own unprocessed psychological material onto others, making them carry their disowned qualities. You develop an almost clinical, detached ability to observe when someone is making you responsible for emotions, reactions, or insights that belong solely to them. This recognition comes without resentment or a sense of superiority. It is simply data, valuable information about how the human psyche operates when it lacks self-awareness. The drama that once pulled you in with powerful gravity now feels foreign to your system, like a dialect you've forgotten. You watch triangulations, manipulations, and emotional games with the detached interest of an observer studying a phenomenon, understanding the mechanics without being swept into the storm. Your compassion matures from the codependent kind that sacrifices itself to save others into a mature, grounded compassion, the kind that offers a loving presence without losing itself in another's suffering. This connects directly to a crucial psychological capacity to position yourself above opposing conflicts and perceive the larger, archetypal patterns at work in any situation. This transcendent function activates within you spontaneously when others bring you their crisis. You no longer feel the automatic, sympathetic panic that once made their emergencies your own. Instead, there is a serene recognition of the limits of your responsibility and the profound wisdom of allowing others to meet their own necessary challenges. For it is in that meeting that they too may develop. You find yourself naturally, almost instinctively, stepping back from situations where your energy is being used to maintain someone else's fragile emotional balance. This stepping back is not cruelty, but clarity about the crucial difference between supporting someone's real growth and enabling their avoidance of essential life lessons. People may mistake your new boundaries for coldness or indifference, but you recognize them for what they are, the necessary guardianship of something sacred and vital within you, the flame of your own spirit. Your relationship with time itself undergoes a basic reorientation. You no longer experience time as a scarce commodity to be hoarded or an opponent to be beaten, but as a dimension of existence to be fully inhabited, moment by moment, with a quality of presence that makes the ordinary significant. The fourth sign emerges in your intuitive capacity, which blossoms into a fully operational part of your psyche. Where you once relied mainly on logical analysis, weighing every option, you now consult an inner knowing, a visceral feeling that connects you to information beyond rational thought alone. This is one of the most profound shifts this integration brings. Synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences, begin to flow through your life with increasing regularity, creating a tangible sense that events align according to an intelligence far greater than your own conscious planning. You learn, through practice, to distinguish between the urgent, frantic demands of the wounded ego and the quiet, persistent guidance of the self, the archetype of wholeness that emerges when integration deepens. Your ability to read the invisible layers of people and situations grows exponentially. You perceive motivations, hidden currents, and potential outcomes that remain completely unseen to others, not through cynicism, but through a refined sensitivity to the energetic information flowing beneath surface appearances. Decision-making, once a laborious effort, no longer requires extensive lists of pros and cons. Instead, you develop a direct connection to your own inner wisdom, to a counsel that has access to knowledge, gathered not just through your personal experience, but through the vast storehouse of the collective human experience. A quality of listening develops within you that goes far beyond merely hearing words. You attune to the pauses between sentences, to the emotions hiding beneath explanations, to the soul speaking through the mask of the persona. This deep listening is not analysis but reception, not judgment, but a witnessing of the full, tragic, and beautiful spectrum of human complexity. It is a form of love. The fifth sign reveals itself in your embrace of the natural, cyclical rhythm of all psychological development. You integrate the pattern of death and rebirth so completely into your being that you no longer fear the periods when your life seems to dissolve, when structures fall away. These times of apparent ending become familiar, almost welcome preludes to expansion and renewal. The dark night before the dawn. Your relationship with uncertainty transforms from avoidance into active engagement. Where once you needed guaranteed outcomes and maps for the entire journey, you now recognize that the most meaningful growth occurs in the space between decision and result, in the willingness to act from inner alignment without any promise of reward. An energetic economy begins to operate within you, safeguarding your vital resources with great intelligence. Your energy is no longer scattered across dozens of draining commitments and false obligations. Instead, you learn to invest your life force strategically, like a wise steward who knows precisely what to nurture and what to release. You understand that true development moves in spirals, not straight lines, revisiting the same core themes at deeper and deeper levels of understanding. This brings a tremendous patience with your own process, a kindness toward your own unfolding. Your creativity undergoes a basic shift from being a tool for external achievement to a mode of internal expression. You create not to prove your worth to the world, but because creation has become a form of communion with the life force moving through you, a sacred dialogue with existence itself. The sixth sign emerges clearly in your relationship with external validation. The deep wounds that drive us to constantly compare ourselves to others and prove our worth incessantly. This complex dissolves within you so completely that the very impulse to measure your value against external standards feels foreign, like a ghost from a former life. You develop what I think of as a firm inner authority, a stable psychological structure that validates your experiences independently of social consensus or popular opinion. Your self-worth no longer rises and falls with the changing tides of praise or criticism. Both criticism and praise register with a similar neutrality. They are processed as information, perhaps useful, perhaps not, but never as final verdicts on your soul. This profound shift liberates an enormous amount of energy that was previously consumed in the exhausting work of managing your public image and seeking approval. Your authenticity becomes non-negotiable, a bedrock principle. You naturally, almost instinctively, choose rejection for who you truly are over acceptance for a clever performance. The way you inhabit your physical body shifts accordingly. A groundedness emerges from this genuine self-possession. You move through space as someone who belongs to themselves first and foremost, a sovereign in your own skin. The seventh and final sign manifests as a refined, almost instinctual discernment about how you invest your precious energy. The entire process of integration culminates in what can be called true energetic sovereignty. This is the ability to protect your essence without aggression, without building walls, simply through conscious choice and presence. Your presence in the world becomes more selective and, consequently, more potent. You no longer distribute yourself indiscriminately, giving your attention and life force to any and all demands. This is not elitism, but a hard-won wisdom about the sacred, non-renewable nature of your own vitality. A natural, unforced authority emanates from you now, not power over others, but power over yourself, which is the true hallmark of psychological maturity. The guilt that once accompanied setting limits, saying no, dissolves completely. You protect your energy with the naturalness and necessity of a guardian, protecting a rare flame from the wind. You learn to recognize with swift and sure intuition those individuals, projects, and relationships that drain your vitality without offering anything of authentic value in return. You simply withdraw without drama or lengthy explanation. Your relationship with suffering itself undergoes a fundamental transformation. Where once pain was something to be avoided at all costs, numbed or fled from, it becomes a teacher whose difficult lessons you learn to receive with a certain gratitude. This does not mean you seek suffering out, that you become masochistic, but that you learn to extract wisdom and depth from unavoidable challenges. You learn the alchemy of turning lead into gold. A great stillness accompanies you now, a companion on your journey, not an absence of movement or engagement, but a presence of deep-centeredness, an unshakable inner calm. This stillness attracts those who are searching for something they cannot name, a quality of being they sense they have lost. You become, without trying, a living example of the integrated soul, a testament to the possibility of wholeness. Your relationship with hope matures from childish wishful thinking into an active, grounded faith in the life process itself. You no longer hope for specific, predetermined outcomes, but develop a profound trust in your own capacity to meet whatever emerges from the unknown, to respond with integrity and resilience. This second psychological birth marks not just recovery from wounding, but a fundamental reorganization of consciousness itself. You become psychologically independent of your early programming, the conditioning of your family and culture. There is a sense of completion that has nothing to do with external achievements and everything to do with internal reconciliation. A peace treaty signed between all the once warring parts of yourself. You no longer need to recover from your past, because you have learned to create your life from your present moment, from the eternal now. The person you thought you should become, the ideal that drove you for so long, is revealed as a limitation, a pale imitation compared to the unique, flawed and magnificent being you already are. Your journey continues, for life is motion, but a crucial foundational phase is completed. You have passed through the soul's most demanding examination, emerging not unscathed, but integrated, not unchanged, but more essentially yourself than you have ever been. The test revealed not your weakness, but your unbreakable core. The secret becomes your lived reality, your embodied truth. The soul does not grow in spite of suffering, but through a conscious and transformative relationship with it. Your pain becomes your most effective instructor. Your wounds become the seat of your deepest understanding. You carry the quiet dignity of someone who has met themselves completely in the mirror of existence and found not perfection, but wholeness, the union of opposites. If you recognize yourself in these signs, then know in your heart that you have passed through an initiation that most will never comprehend, a journey that cannot be fully captured in language. Your transformation serves not only your own evolution but creates, simply by your way of being, a blueprint of possibility for others who will follow. And remember, this is not an end. Your great journey of conscious evolution has only just begun its next, more mysterious phase. If this exploration of the silent test resonated with you, please show your support by liking this video. It truly helps this channel, Wake and Win, continue to create content that illuminates the deeper paths. Thank you for watching.